Welcome to Quiet in the Library. Hello all, and welcome to another episode of Quiet in the Library. I'm your host, Reggie. We're going to be getting into Dragon Age, specifically Inquisition. It's my favorite out of the series and currently the last one that came out. Technically, it would be the third one in the series, preceded by Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2. I'm going to be providing a bit of background for the story and the world as a whole, so that way it makes a little bit more sense to our readers and our listeners. The story of Dragon Age Inquisition follows the person called the Inquisitor on a journey to settle the civil unrest in the continent of Thedas and close a mysterious tear in the sky called the Breach, which is unleashing dangerous demons upon the world. And that's really something that gravitates towards me personally. I love to be the titular character in creating this type of world that I can choose to save based off of my actions. And that's really important, how we follow through the stories and the characters that we play and how life is given to them through the writers and the artists and the musicians. And this particular Inquisitor is viewed by some as the chosen one, as he has the mark on their hand, capable of closing the breach. And that's really interesting because we want to make sure that that actually happens inside of the game. And this Inquisitor gets a merry band of party members with varying backgrounds and beliefs and virtues, and it creates this really cohesive story and this really cohesive storytelling aspect through all of these different characters and how they view the Inquisitor as they go about this particular quest. And their party members are trying to stop this being called Corypheus, and he is an ancient darkspawn who has opened the breach, and through the course of the game, he's trying to conquer the world of Thedas and achieve godhood. So, we're going to be getting into some of the characters, the settings, the stories inside of the stories, and it's going to be really interesting, and I'm very excited. So let's get it going. The world of Thedas has two factions that are currently at war with one another. Mages have broken out into an all-out war against the oppressive Templars. The nations rise against one another, and it falls to you to restore order as you lead the Inquisition and hunt down the agents of chaos. Before we get into the civil unrest of Thedas, we are going to delve a little bit deeper inside of some of the characters that are instrumental in the creation of this world and being able to tell the stories behind them. Specifically three: Varric, Vivian, and Iron Bull. There's power in stories. That's all history is. The best tales. The ones that last. Might as well be mine. Varric Tethris of the Dwarven Merchants Guild of Kirkwall is famous, or infamous, for two things: his books and his association with the champion of Kirkwall. After the Templars and Circles broke away from the Chantry, Divine Justinia V sent her agents to Kirkwall, where the roots of the war began, in search of answers. The champion had long since disappeared, but Varric had written a book on his friend's involvement in the destruction of the Kirkwall Chantry, and the left and right hands of the Divine located him with surprising ease. They captured and interrogated him, then brought him to the Conclave to give his testimony to the Divine in person. But fate decreed that he would never meet her. So Varric is this really cool character inside of Inquisition, with the fact that he is an author and he has written his own books inside of the universe of Dragon Age. And when he's doing these things, he's also an archer as well as this merchant inside of the Dwarven Guild. And the Dwarven Guild can run legal and illegal activities outside and inside of Kirkwall. And most of their activities run through the deep roads, which would be underground passages that the dwarves use to get around the world. And really, it's only accessible through dwarves, and it's extremely huge. The scope would be cities wide, many cities wide. And the fact that Varric is such a polarizing figure with the fact of the hero of Kirkwall, as well as the Inquisitor, he provides comic relief, as well as a kind of, I've seen this before, I hope it doesn't happen again, type of view to the world. And it's really interesting. I'm glad that they put him in the game, and following his story along with all of the others inside of the Inquisition proves quite interesting. So let's go ahead and get into Vivienne next. Magic is dangerous, just as fire is dangerous. Anyone who forgets this truth gets burned. An assiduous and talented scholar, Vivienne rose rapidly through the ranks of Montesimon's circles. When made a full-fledged enchanter, she elected to join no fraternity, a decision that shocked colleagues, but may have been a calculated maneuver. When she successfully applied to be an appointed enchanter to the imperial court, nearly every fraternity clamored for her favors in hope of having a representative at the Empress's ear. She was voted first enchanter of Montesimon at an age young enough to cause scandal. The circle widely regards her as the most shrewd and disciplined mage in Orlais. So a couple of things about Vivienne. One about Orlais and two about the circles. The circles are these massive groups of mages that collectively, gather together, and they try to have some sort of order, make sure that, mages are following the rules, basically making sure they have some type of charter to know exactly what a mage is to do and what they're not to do. And Orlais, in general, is a place where a lot of the circles are made. There's also a few in Ferelden as well, but mainly in Orlais, as that is where a majority of these circles are. So we're going to go and take this spot and end it, and we'll head on into Iron Bull. My dear friend, I completely understand the difficulty you face. To have such well-equipped bandits attack your family's caravans so regularly and with such exquisite knowledge of your shipping schedules is indeed highly unfortunate. There is no shame at all in finding your household guards wanting in such trying circumstances. To answer your question, when faced with my own troubles last year, I employed the Bull's Chargers. Their leader, the Iron Bull, is a Qunari, a great horned giant of a man. He looked like a savage, but spoke like a gentleman. He seems unstoppable in combat, but is far more clever than a simple swordsman. His mercenaries were costly, but they were both strong enough to protect my family's caravans and clever enough to discover how the bandits came into such luck in their attacks upon my family. The bandits have been no such trouble at all since, and a baron of our mutual acquaintance effusively assured me that he would be greatly surprised if they ever caused us difficulty. If you wish to employ the Iron Bull, I can provide you with his contact information, as well as a list of the liquors he enjoys most particularly. Will your husband also be present during these negotiations, or will you be making the acquaintance of the Iron Bull in a more intimate setting? If so, we shall have to talk the next time our men go hunting. Yours in friendship, B. These were just a few adventures from different characters inside of Dragon Age, and we're going to end this particular episode with a song from one of the bards explaining enchanters and their role in the Circle of Magi. And thank you for listening to this next episode of Quiet in the Library. We're going to be handling some of the lore next inside of Dragon Age, so stay tuned and thanks for listening.
Enchanters, the time has come to be alive in the circle of Magi, where we will thrive with our brothers. Enchanters remind that time will not unwind. The dragon's crooked spine will never straighten into line. What we plead will be a faithful and decree, where a man will not retreat from the defeat of his fathers. Enchanters a time